I fell into a burning ring of fire. Frank went down, down, down.
Burning.
In a ring of fire. Thank you.
That gets us started. Thank you so much.
We practiced that one a little bit.
Oh, did you practice on the way over?
Well, not too much. We just practiced. I practiced, I guess.
Did you guys carpool here? Yeah.
No, we
No,
didn't.
you didn't.
No. Came from separate places.
Separate places. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Stephen, welcome back.
Thank you.
You brought a friend.
I brought a good friend of mine, my best friend.
You
my
brought
dad.
Frank. Frank's here from Frank's Flooring. When did you start it, Frank?
2005.
Oh, so recently. What were you doing before that?
I had some office work I was doing. Yeah.
When did you start? Sorry, when did you start, Stephen?
I don't know the year. I was about 17 or 15.
Yeah.
I don't know what year that was. It was a couple years after you had started.
Yeah,
really.
just a few years after. 2007 he started around
What
there.
made you go from office to tiling?
I always dabbled in construction. I always did things on my own on the side. Some renos at home, at the cottage. I did quite a bit. I did quite a bit beforehand, and then I got tired sitting at a desk.
So almost 20 years now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Tile
coming up.
industry's changed a little bit, I would say. A lot in the last 20 years.
Yeah, quite a bit.
Yeah.
Quite a bit.
Well,
Things
welcome, guys.
Thank
Good
you.
to have you in the studio
Thank
back
you.
again.
Glad
and
to
then
be
I'm glad
back.
that you brought your dad.
Yeah.
We got a lot to talk about, which is going to be good. You guys aren't nervous? You're not nervous at
No.
all? No.
No.
We're going to talk shop. That's all we're going to
Yeah.
do.
Like every day.
No, basically, like other than there's no slab up against the wall and there's no snap over here. There's no tile saw, nothing.
tile
No
cutter.
saws of any kind.
No, there's no tools in here.
It's a
There's
little
hard hat.
refreshing.
No, that's about it, right?
Yeah.
So I don't want to start doing demonstration podcasts. I
No.
don't care for that. No, I'm not interested in that. Frank's Flooring is in the studio today. www.franksflooring.ca, Frank at franksflooring.ca. And also Stephen at franksflooring.ca. And then on Instagram, it's under Frank's Flooring. And then the phone number to reach Frank is 416-722-2507. And Stephen's is 647-921-2508. And then that's it, I think. Yeah. So hang on a sec. Quick shout out. I got Evan from Evan Workshop, his t-shirt.
Oh, awesome.
I'm wearing his. Unleash your voice on the Construction Life podcast community. Are you passionate about the world of construction, trades, and all things building related? The Construction Life podcast wants to hear from you. Leave us a review, share your thoughts, insights, and experiences on your favorite podcast channel. Your review fuels our mission to create engaging and informative content for the construction community. Your feedback is a mortar that holds our podcast together. So share your thoughts, rate us, and let the construction community know why the Construction Life is your go-to podcast. Visit our website and check out the over 400 tradespeople and construction professionals listed on our site. Check out www.theconstructionlife.com for additional content, behind-the-scenes exclusives, and valuable resources. Dive deeper into the construction world with articles, guest profiles, and more. Follow us on social at TCL_The Construction Life. Subscribe to our video channels on YouTube and Rumble. Check out our link tree and find exclusive discounts for listeners. The link is in the IG bio. Join the conversation on Facebook, the Construction Life community. I gotta get a Frank's Flooring t-shirt. You both
Yeah,
have
we
didn't
should have
bring
brought
one.
a few in.
a Frank's
actually.
Flooring suit. I need a nice
suit.
little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Maybe
next-
a double-breasted. We'll go back to
next
the
time.
early '90s or something.
Yes.
No. Just a tee. is
You'll
totally
never
cool.
find this T-shirt anywhere. Actually,
It's a retro.
no, it's homemade by
Custom made by
an Instagram follower. His client made a couple of them for us and the team.
That's nice.
Got our name
Yeah.
embroidered on the side. Yeah,
He's just a fan.
yeah.
Yes.
We talk shop sometimes through Instagram, and he lives in Canada and
Yeah.
made a couple little things like
Good
that
looking
for us.
tee. Good looking color.
I love it actually.
Yeah.
It's very soft and nice.
And you've got the polo shirt.
Yeah.
So you can go
Very
right from the
business
job site to the
professional.
golf
This
course.
is my estimate.
the estimate
My
line.
estimate gear. I go.
All right, so I wanted to get you back in so we can actually get more history on Frank's Flooring and how it all got started. But you were just mentioning 2005, right?
Yeah, thereabouts. I basically was doing quite a few side jobs, I guess, at the time, and I got busier and busier and busier. And then one day I just decided that's it and ventured out.
So a bunch of kind of whatever work people were asking for. It wasn't specifically just flooring
Yeah,
work?
it wasn't specifically flooring. Most of it was, because that's what I felt more comfortable doing. But actually, back then, I was only doing hardwood and laminate. really.
Back then would have been the introduction of hardwood. Or no, laminate would have been the introduction of
laminate.
Laminate
Was fairly new, I guess.
Come-ish, right? Like it was kind of showing up. You had the bad stuff come out. And
yeah.
kind of happens with every kind of material that comes out.
So I was basically doing that for a number of years at the beginning on my own.
So today now, like regarding flooring, what percentage you guys figure is tile and what percentage you guys figure is wood that you guys are doing?
Oh, now it's like 95% tile.
That's what it is, right?
Once Steven came in, he didn't want to do hardwood or laminate anymore.
Oh, you didn't want to touch it?
No, it's a lot of labor. It's a lot of moving around.
Coming from a tile installer, like it's a lot of
no,
labor?
the hardwood is it was more for me. I felt like I could never do the job fast enough. Like we'd be going and going and going. Where the tile, you kind of have to stop and think a little bit more, and it requires a little bit more skill. Yeah. The hardwood requires a lot of skill too, but
there's a lot more moving in hardwood. You're getting up, you're cutting, you're going back and forth, unpacking. There's a lot more pieces,
and the boxes were a lot smaller of tile than the hardwood.
That's right. Back then, there was very few 8, 6, 7, 8 inch boards. They were all either 2.5 or 3 inch boards.
Yeah, exactly. Max, if you got lucky, was 3.5, right? Like,
yeah, 3.5, 4. Wow. So to do a room, there's a lot of lines there, a lot of boards.
Was it mostly stapling or was it cleating or glue down? Or was it a bunch of...
No, it was all mainly cleats, actually.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and even back then, when I first started, there was no compressor. It was all the manual.
Oh, I remember that.
The manual.
You had to hit it hard enough to actually
manual nailer.
Yeah, I remember that.
Right?
Totally.
And so you had to hit it with the proper amount of force.
So nowadays...
Not too hard, not too light.
All the trades are spoiled with all the tools that they have now.
With the compressors, you just tap it. Oh, nowadays when we do it, we got the one with the rollers on the front and the side. Yeah. And Steven, as long as the compressor keeps up, he just keeps going.
But there's no water, no sponges.
That's right. Your
hands
are nice and clean. They're dry.
You get a little bit of, you get a splinter.
Some sawdust.
But nothing's as bad as a porcelain little chip kind of dig it into your skin, and then water. That hurts. Doesn't that hurt more?
Water cleans it though, right?
Disinfectant.
Yeah. So mortar material infused water cleans the wound that you just got cut from the porcelain slab or something.
All those toxic signs on the cement bags, they must be good for something, right?
So you like wood more, Frank, than tile, or do you go where it goes?
I go where it goes.
You go where it goes, right?
Point, yeah. Now it's been a few years where we do the majority of tiles, so I've kind of accepted it. There's more money in tile.
You know what? You're right. Because it's a race to the bottom when it comes to flooring, hardwood flooring, any kind of flooring.
Right.
It is totally a race to the bottom.
But it is a messier job. And
less furniture to move with tile.
That's true too, though.
It's one room, and usually there's no furniture. And if you decide on keeping the vanity, you can just work around the vanity.
Yeah.
On the top, on the wall for the backsplash or whatever. Oh, it's a good point.
And when we first started, when my dad first started and I joined, it was a lot of renovations with the hardwood and laminate and some vinyl. So like a lot of condos, tight spaces, and you're doing a quarter or half the room, move the furniture over, do the other half.
I've been there.
And that to me was like a nightmare. I don't know. I was spoiled when I grew up working in the trades with him though, because it just wasn't for me. I mean, nowadays we do that like nothing. Eyes are closed and we can do that kind of stuff. But maybe that's why I like the tile a little more, because I gotta be really focused.
At the beginning, I didn't have any work with like contractors where it'd be an empty house or anything. It'd always be a reno for a customer and moving bedroom sets.
But you needed the real estate for all the tools that were associated with the tiling.
Right?
Yeah.
That was the downfall of it, right? So you needed the space, and then sometimes, most of the time, you wouldn't be able to do it inside the house.
Yeah.
So you'd have to go to the garage, and then if it's seasonal, you don't pump the brakes and not do the job because it's wintertime now, right?
And for the condos, we had like a little table saw. Like this
I know. Like everyone started with that. What size blade was that? It was probably the worst blade in the entire world. It never cut everything perfectly.
Yeah.
No.
And I think
it was going.
Oh yeah, it would dance. Can you imagine trying doing a miter with that one? If it would never work, right?
Yeah.
So you've seen it kind of grow from like the tile edges to like, I guess the introduction of tile edges at that point. 2005 would have been the introduction of tile edge.
Well, they had tile edges.
No, not to the extent that they have them now, where there's so many options.
Not the selection.
One or two options, and that was it.
Yeah. You got steel or you got steel.
I know.
You know, and some plastic. You know,
plastic was, I guess, for just. I mean, the price difference wasn't that much. It wasn't that crazy difference or whatever. It was.
Yeah.
It was just an option just for cheapness. I guess it was an option for color.
For color, because the plastic they had it in white.
Yeah.
Right. And
but it was almost like the marble thresholds, where you can have anyone you want as long as it's gray or brown.
Yeah.
Gray or beige.
Yeah.
But nowadays you can make your own tile or your threshold or frame. You could do whatever you want.
You do whatever you want now.
Too many options for you guys?
Not for me. I like all those options. And,
Borders?
I love it. The ability to be creative is what kind of drew me towards the tile, where you can do a lot of things. Where the wood, you can still do like fun designs like this and borders and intricate patterns, but you know, you're getting one color, maybe two colors at the most. Whereas with the tile, I think when we started doing a lot of backsplashes early on, they were like the thin glass and stone mosaic sheets.
I remember those.
And it was crazy amount of colors and tile sizes all in one. And that was fun. And then after doing, I don't know how many thousands of square feet of that, you know, you kind of go, okay, this is getting a little boring now.
Let's start there. I want to find out, what is the best kitchen backsplash?
Oh, the big tiles.
Just large, like, will it even go as far as slabs?
Oh, yeah, sure.
They're putting slabs on the kitchen backsplash.
Yeah, they are.
You make it from countertop to the bottom of the cabinet in one piece. I always love the bigger.
Yeah,
like
it's very nice.
Like when we're doing like little hexagons and stuff, it becomes very tedious.
It becomes tedious, and I find it looks really, really busy.
Yeah.
And I don't think a backsplash should be looking busy.
No. And that's why a lot of people go to the subway tile.
But it's all personal preference. Everybody's got their own idea
if it's a
of
shaker
what
kitchen,
they like.
you go subway tile. Like, it's just like
of what they like, right? I mean, the bigger the tile, the easier it is to maintain and keep clean. If you got a messy kitchen, you have less grout lines to clean.
Am I crazy to ask for a stainless steel backsplash? Is that like crazy talk about that stuff?
I think I may have seen that once in a residential home.
In a residential.
And that was it. And that person probably was like a full-time chef or something.
Probably. But I mean, like, when you see any kind of restaurants, it's always
yeah.
But you never had a client ask you for a stainless steel backsplash?
No.
I don't think they would ask us. Like,
yeah, they wouldn't ask us. They'd go to a
either with the kitchen company
fab,
or someone who
some outdoor kitchens I've seen stainless steel.
Oh yeah,
we have the outdoor.
But I'm on this trip where I think that stainless steel makes first of all, for the cooking area, it makes a lot of sense because you clean it, and unless you're an Uber kitchen expert, right, where you just order all your food and then you put it into pots and to make it look like you cooked it and then put it in certain dishes, but you're just heating up food. If you cook, you're going to get splashes on the back.
Yeah.
So the last thing you want is get a backsplash that's really, really busy with a lot of grout lines, especially an inferior product, because that's just going to be a pain to keep clean, right?
Mind you, my dad's kitchen backsplash
is
a lot of lines. It's a busy mosaic with the chevron pattern.
Where's the bus?
Yeah. But we do keep that clean. We don't go excessive with the tomato sauce, keep the temps on medium or low. And it still looks just as good as the day we did it. And I love that tile. That's one of the busiest tiles we've done, and I think it's still one of the coolest.
What grout did you use? What brand?
It's done right.
Sorry?
Do you remember the grout brand that you used?
Probably the Mapei Ultra Color.
Yeah.
But then I
holds up.
But then I sealed everything afterwards a couple of times, right? So it's pretty easy to clean.
They should put that on the sealer. Right? They should actually write down great to prevent tomato sauce stains.
All the Italians would buy it instantly.
It would just be off the shelf.
Yeah.
So where you buy the tomatoes and you buy the grout, that's where you
side by side.
Yeah. You'll sell all kinds of that stuff, which is great, because I never understood that, because you always, when you see an older kitchen, maybe 10 years, and you walk into the kitchen, you can almost squint a little bit, and you'll see that tile around the cooking area is just a little bit dirtier, darker.
Yeah.
You just see that.
But then a lot of people, it's not about functionality; it's just about looks.
Boy, is that an argument, huh?
Yeah.
Right. So, like
the busiest room ever.
Because I remember even when we went out looking for that backsplash with my wife. It was just about the look. She didn't even think about cleaning it. It was just like, how's it going to look?
One of the first lessons that, who was it that taught me? Was it an architect? I'm trying to remember who taught me. He taught me about how the flow of a house is supposed to be designed, and the way you want to figure out what the best way to create the flow of the house is determine you arriving at home with 2 shopping bags, right? He described it as paper bags, so he's going way back, right? And you're walking into the house carrying these bags. So that will determine how many steps you want on your front, how you enter from the garage by the side entrance, and how long it takes you to get to the kitchen, and then where all those groceries are going to go regarding the placement of the appliances that are needed. Right. And I was like, yeah, it's very true. So if you're holding 2 full bags, how do you want to treat that? So if you want 10 steps or 2 flights or whatever it is, and you're going through zigzag to get to the kitchen, you're going to hate those bags at that point, right?
So another hot topic I have with a lot of clients is, should we put some tile by the front door, or should we just do the hardwood right through? And even the hardwood in the kitchen.
I think we talked about briefly.
So there's a big thing where the designers just like the one look. Hardwood.
I say no hardwood in kitchens. I'm sorry. No hardwood in kitchens, and no substitute porcelain tiles that look like hardwood in kitchens.
that hardwood, that no. Yeah. But even the tiles are hardwood by the front door. With our Canadian winters, you walk in, you leave a pair of boots that got snow, and it melts through the carpet. Your hardwood is ruined.
It's done. That hardwood is going to get worn out and wrecked, right? So you might as well just figure out where that line's going to be. In today's day, like, there's so many brands that have so many different kinds of transitions that you can make it look seamless, right?
Yeah.
We make it look seamless all the time.
It's not about, like, I got rid of that argument about how you need the expansion, and no, you don't. If the house is built properly, you don't need an expansion. Yeah. It could be right tight next to each other, and it's not going to move.
Yeah, because usually the one joint is tight, but then the other
ones are loose.
Are loose a bit. So
that's right. So that's where the movement's going on. So there might be some tension going on the joint between the 2 finish straights.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it's moving back.
It's moving back the other way. Yeah.
And I've seen a lot of guys when they do hardwood, they slam it against the drywall, and then they're just nailing. That's when you get into the problems of that. Yeah. So one thing that separated us when we started doing tile and hardwood like religiously was that, we understand all aspects of flooring. We can make this a seamless floor and functionable, where it's not going to buckle over time. The grout's not going to crack. We'll make everything flush and nice, and it still works to this day, having that aspect of our business. Yeah. And that's one of the big reasons why our house, my dad's house, is so well done.
I always cringed whenever I walked by a supplier section of T-moldings and reducers, and I was like, what is all that stuff? Like, who uses, or why do we want to use that? First of all, that wood will never match the wood that the client chose.
Right.
And that fake-looking wood will never match. And why do you want this speed bump here? I want everything to be a transition, right? Yeah.
The only time you really need it is when you're doing like a laminate or vinyl. Then you need something there.
Because, but even at that point, if there's a way that you can increase the thickness of the substrate, so you can raise it up. But even with you're right. The laminate, you can't cut it clean. I've done it before, where I cut it clean right up against a tile edge.
Yeah, you can cut it clean, but it moves.
It still moves a little bit.
It moves more.
So then what I normally do is I try to get as close a color match silicone flexible caulking and put it in there. If it does move, it kind of lasts at that point.
Yeah, yeah.
But I never, even in my early years of construction when I got started, which was a bit like 2009, 2010, I think I did 1 or 2 curbs, showers.
Oh, really?
And then I stopped. I started doing curbless. I was fighting the curbless all the time. And every time I went to go do a quote of a job, they would talk about, well, we'd really like to do a curbless, but we're not sure if we could do a curbless. And I was like, okay, come with me. We're going to go back downstairs. I need to look at the room that's underneath this to find out which way the joists are going, because I'm going to have to cut open this stuff, right? And you convince them on that point to do it. At that point, you can restructurally do it, right?
Yeah.
And then you don't have a curb, because I never liked curbs in showers. I really didn't. I didn't like tiling them. I didn't like putting the threshold on them. I didn't like anything about a curb.
No?
It never made any sense to me. That's just me.
Yeah.
And then the rubber membrane never made any sense to me.
Yeah, the rubber membrane, no.
And I don't care how good of a folder you are, in the corner, it always came out.
It always came out.
dramatically, right?
Yeah.
But I know there's certain applications like in high rise where you can't use certain foam products in high rise because of fire code and stuff like that.
Oh,
so then you were forced. Well, I know New York. There was a guy that I was talking to when I was going to some New York trade shows. A lot of the New York high rises, you're only allowed to use lead.
Really?
You can't even use a rubber because of fire code, and you can't use foam because of fire code.
Oh,
so you have to tin away lead.
Wow.
To shape it, and that's what made it waterproof. And I was like, I don't know about that, but that's gonna fail.
Yeah, I know about that.
At some point, it's gonna fail, right?
Yeah, but nowadays
plus you're handling lead.
Lead. Yeah. Yeah. But nowadays they have the fabric.
Yeah, there's all kinds
That's
nowadays.
thin,
It's
that
different,
you can
yeah.
Waterproof.
But guys are still doing rubber with the weeping
They're still
hose
doing
and
rubber.
the drain and
I saw one the other day.
dry pack
I went to give an estimate, and the plumber put in the drain with the rubber, and I'm like, I'm tearing this out, you know.
It's the same thing. Like, did you guys ever do scratch coat with mesh at the beginning, right?
Oh yeah.
But that's done now, right? Or do guys still?
I've seen some guys do it on Instagram even still.
Still?
Once or twice.
Thicker bed, right? Not the Toronto Classic. Just scrape a trowel over it.
I think the Toronto Classic.
Really?
Like it's hard to tell from the pictures, but I still see some people doing it very rarely. I mean, they still sell scratch coat.
Yeah, they do. That's the sad thing.
Yeah.
And they still sell the mesh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, I've seen guys use the mesh for like dry pack.
That's different when you embed it in there. But when you just you make the scratch coat really milky, liquidy, and then you just scrape it on with a trowel, and then parts of it are sticking out, and like, don't worry, that gives the towel grip. That'll catch on.
Yeah, catch.
That's not what it's for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I hated it. It was fun at first. You know, I got to use a staple gun, take the compressor, get my hands all cut up.
Until you get a demo.
Yeah.
And then when you get a demo and remove that.
Oh, yeah. And we still are demoing jobs all the time where we're pulling staples and wire mesh out.
Mind you, the membrane with the fleece underneath is no easy task to demo either.
No, it's a pain.
I mean, you're not going to get your hands cut the way you do with the mesh, but it's a pain to get it nice and clean.
You can't remove it fully, can you?
Yeah, well, if you scrape enough, you can.
I think we tried with the concrete grinder once, and then it started, the
Gumming
fleece
up.
started gumming it up in
Gumming
the
it up.
vacuum area.
Totally would have.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. And it was like, okay, what do we do now?
I know you guys did a job recently with Provo, right? Like
With Prova?
Yeah, you guys.
all the time.
Oh, really? Huh?
Oh, yeah. We love using their
I've
products.
never used it. So is it good?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
and since we're just talking about the fire rating, their board is it's not like it does have a fire rating to it.
Okay.
So you can use it for fireplaces, and if condos are having restrictions, it's good to go.
But it's a foam.
Yeah.
But it's a foam with a cementatious product on it.
Yeah.
On the face, yeah.
How do you cut it?
With a knife.
Just with a knife and snap.
Exacto
You
knife.
score
Yeah.
it and snap it.
Really? But then they also have the fleece too, as well, for
They have
waterproofing.
the fleece because their shower pan is the open cell foam, so it's white, so you have to still cover it. Whereas the board is the blue foam. I think it's closed cell. So
Different, yeah.
You just got to caulk the joints to put them together.
yeah, like they have their silicone sealant adhesive.
And then what do you do to secure the board? Is it like wet?
Screws and washers.
Screws and washers.
Yeah.
And then you're just patching the washer.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we're actually even that they recommend to do is take it a little step further and put the sealant behind the studs.
Understood.
If you have any movement, especially with like new construction homes that are still kind of new foundation.
still drying and flexibility.
Because I see it sometimes when we're quoting jobs that like grout is cracking. Not in jobs that we've done, but new construction, and it kind of makes me weary. So I don't want that to happen on our jobs. So if it means an extra tube or two of sealant, like I don't care what it is. I want these jobs to last until I'm my dad's age.
No, I know. And I think we've talked about this where it's
Yeah.
like, I think all shower enclosures should be done with LSLs, right?
Yeah.
Like no more dimensional lumber in these corners. Doesn't matter if it's two corners of an exterior wall, right?
Ideally,
right?
Ideally,
Because it
but-
makes. I've done it in the last few showers that I did. I just like it. I don't want to fight this. I want this to be true plumb.
Plumb,
And just so
yeah.
then you don't have to build out. You don't have to fuss with it at that point, right?
Yeah. But sometimes these condos that are renos, we change a lot of these steel studs because they're just so twisted.
By the time you demo it, you end up breaking half of them.
Or they're all twisted and garbage from the last demo that trying to fight that. What is that mix? Like, what is it? Concrete mix on a wire mesh? Like what they do for the actual, or is it just drywall? The older condos though.
Usually just drywall.
Is it?
And the steel studs.
Yeah. I've seen it as like almost like a mud dog kind of thing. These are much older condos.
Oh, wow.
Which is like a pain in the ass, man.
Yeah,
I can't stand
I wonder if somebody just put like mud just trying to straighten out the wall.
Maybe. Could have been that way. But now you're demolishing all that so you can get some new plumbing behind there and run some new lines. And now you got to patch that and start all over again. But then, the studs. And those studs are always like 2.5 inch.
Yeah, a lot of times they are. They're really thin.
So if you're trying to build a niche in your niche is a lot more shallow.
And if you want to have a really good day, it's like a 1.5 inch stud. They do those really small things, which I can't stand, man. I've done one condo in my life.
Really?
And I fought it. I was like, I hated this job so
not
bad. It was a full floor. We had to replace all the flooring, the bathroom. I was like, I'm never doing this ever again.
They're not too bad if you have a balcony, but if you don't, then you're really cursing yourself.
I can't stand it.
The amount of time you waste in a condo.
But then you get certain guys who like the condos because they can charge a premium.
Yeah.
So they make a little bit more money.
But you're not making, because it's taking you
more
1.5 times.
So it's really more, right?
Just going up and down the elevator, and like it's just and then you're restricted by their hours. You know, I had neighbors coming and banging during the day. When are you going to stop all the noise?
I never understood that, Frank. Like I didn't get how. I know the rules of construction laws, the bylaws, where it's 7 to 7, right? Monday to Friday, and 9 to 5 on Saturdays,
right? And
no work on Sundays, right? I guess it's based on Catholic or Christianity at that point,
right?
But I mean, like lots of people work in the middle of the night and then they sleep during the day. So what about those people? Lots of people that are not religious that, I don't know, work on Sundays or something. Like, what about those people? I never understood these rules, how it should just be.
Like you said, they're old dated laws that go way back. And I guess the majority of people still work during the day. The majority. And so
these days, a lot of people are just working. I mean, you guys have done commercial stuff too, no?
Yeah.
So,
you guys don't work during the day in commercial. Like, it's the most part. You'll have to go in there after hours of a commercial unit.
We've never done a commercial job like that.
Oh, okay, you haven't gone down. I know other tile setters that have gone in at the middle of the night.
Oh yeah.
We work.
Yeah. We have. We've talked to a couple people that have even done work for the TTC, and that's overnight. And that, to me, like I at first when I got asked by that person, I considered it because I wanted the experience. And as I've been getting older... You can
YouTube the experience, Steven, and just watch it.
Yeah, but I don't think that's for me. I prefer my 7 to 6, 8 to 6, whatever, and keep it like that.
That's just pressure. Like, you got to get it done, and I guess there can only be a penalty if you don't get it done or it doesn't dry or something goes wrong.
I heard guys working in banks, they have to have it done by the morning. It has to be grouted.
Yeah.
And cleaned by the morning so customers can walk on it.
And they're laying tile just trying to figure out how they can break into the vault.
Yeah.
Like that's their thought process at that point, right? Yeah. Which I think every tradesperson would be thinking that kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't want to do that because it's just it compounds the stress.
Yeah.
On doing the job. I just want to do the job, right?
Yeah. Right. It's just
This podcast episode has been sponsored by Class and Bronze Limited, authorized Canadian and U.S. wholesale distributor of Pagan heavy-duty, high-performance tile leveling systems and installation tools. Choosing to buy outstanding and beautiful tiles also requires buying an exceptional tile leveling system. For hassle-free installation and an exceptional leveled finish, choose Pagrin. Imitate it, never duplicate it. Available at Amazon, select ProSol stores, and purchased at www.tilelevelingsystems.shop. You can also find Pagrin on social at Tile Leveling Systems and their website, www.pagrin.com. So when did you guys started tackling the slabs? The slabs started showing up, what, 5, 6 years? No, about 7 years ago?
We started doing them to, like, I think I was looking at the Instagram. It was about 2020 or 2019.
Oh, recently?
No, that first one? That was before.
I would say 4 or 5 years that they started introducing themselves into the market, and then Basically giving you guys a world more responsibility.
Yeah.
You're almost like a tile manufacturer, distributor, and installer all in one now.
Yeah. And, it just means you have to buy more tools.
Yeah,
Bigger tools.
That's what it comes down to, yeah. More expensive, rare tools that not everybody uses, right? And they only make them for these particular jobs. So they charge a premium for them, of course.
But also, like, you guys are, I guess, the risk factor associated with them, the variable, like the variable whether or not that slab is going to be or react the way you want it to react, so to speak. Because for the most part, you're snapping them and then you're polishing them.
Yes.
And then there's also that fighting of like a glass, like it's a glass coating, and you're fighting that as well too.
Yeah.
And then installing it at that point and hoping it doesn't break at that point.
Yeah. A lot of times, even the biggest challenge is just getting it into the room.
Yeah, that's the hardest part.
Sometimes
usually.
we had some difficulty bringing slabs like upstairs on a curved staircase, right? And you're trying to angle it and bring it upstairs, and right. Sometimes getting into a room on an angle is very, very tight.
The full slab or the cut slab?
It'll be cut, but
It'd be
still
cut to size by then.
Some of them are only cut a couple inches.
But the doors are only 7. Sometimes the doors are only 7 feet high, and the ceiling is 9. Actually, we just had a customer recently where he removed the drywall beside the door to get the slab into the washroom.
I would have did that.
And then we had to.
Oh, it's the only way to get it in.
Put the stud back, drywall it.
It's the only
put
way.
The tile on after.
You couldn't get it in otherwise.
I've done that where I didn't. I cut open the wall and the door trim, or it wasn't installed yet. So normally I like putting it first, right, to finalize the door because the floor was done.
Yeah.
But for me to actually get the custom countertop in there for the vanity and to get it in there properly, because it was actually an alcove kind of space, so it was actually fixed for exactly the size.
Right, yeah.
And I didn't want to cut it shorter so they can get it in on an angle and then drop it in place and then do a little fill. I didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
So I was like, no, we're going to cut this open and we're going to get this slab in here and then we're going to rebuild this whole entryway.
Redo it, yeah.
And then now the slab goes in there and it's like tight to the drywall, and you clean simple bead of caulking and it looks like, how did you get that in there?
Yeah.
But then you prepare the easy part. Drywall is nothing.
Yeah.
Even wood trim is relatively nothing.
Yeah.
Right. So I think someone sent me a post recently. The client asked for the trim to be cut and not the tile to be cut.
Really?
It wasn't the tile. It was a custom made top. And
like
they didn't want to.
Top?
Yeah. And they didn't want to cut that to get it into the space. So they cut the trim to get it into there. And then they just wanted that to be repaired after the fact. And I'm like, that's ass backwards. I'm sorry to say, but
how did it look?
It looked like a mistake. And I don't know if the final picture was taken, if it was like Photoshop to hide. I don't care who you are or how genius you are or what kind of glue you're using. You cut out a piece of trim and then put a piece back in there and then try to clamp it together to seal it and rebuild all that stuff. You're going to still see those two lines in the paint. I don't care who you are.
Yeah.
It doesn't,
It won't work. But I was really like, they showed me the final picture and I was like, that's Photoshop.
Compared to the cost of the custom piece and that one piece of trim.
Get it in there. It's as simple as that.
Change the whole piece.
But they didn't want to do that. So I just like, I don't know where their thought process is, but they're the ones that are paying the final bill. So you got to listen to them, unfortunately.
Yes.
I mean, you can only voice your opinion so much before arguing, and you don't want to ever do that. Like,
let me begin by saying my professional opinion would be to go down this way.
Yeah.
But I'll listen to your amateurish opinion, and we'll go down this way. That's fine.
But like you said, in the end, they're the ones paying. So
true.
We can only suggest what we think is best, and then at the end, it's the homeowner, the designer, that makes the final call.
Or the homeowner / designer, eh?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we've had a couple of those.
That special talented breed of individual.
Yeah.
Yes, we know which one they are. Yeah, we totally get it.
Yeah.
Have they changed over the years, Frank? Have you guys seen them change, like people?
The homeowners or designers?
Both, I guess. Yeah. Are they like, because we know that the homeowners are getting younger, and I guess, for lack of a better word, I don't think they're getting really bolder, because I think it's always
the homeowners now, well, for the last few years, I guess, they're all being educated by the DIY shows on TV, and they think, oh, that's all there is to it. You know,
they make it look easy.
They see a half-hour episode of Brian Baumer, and they go, "Oh, that's it. That's all that's needed." And
I learned all my tiling tricks from those shows. Like I like spot bonding. Like that's great.
That's it.
Plenty of air in between, so you can just push the tile in.
That's it.
Fills it in like you're creating sauce for a Big Mac or something like that.
That's
And
it.
just squeeze it out. These are all wrong things to do. You guys are educated. You go to PKs. You learn from manufacturers that offer you like tips and tricks and new products. And you guys are doing all this homework and what do? They go to a design page or a design show or a design whatever, right? But they never really dive deep into how it should be done. You guys dive deep into how it should be done.
Yeah.
Right. But they're also dealing with a lot of different trades, not just us.
But that's the fault on every scene. Like you can watch someone DIY a shed or trim. It's the same thing.
Same thing. Yes.
I guess we just had bricklayers in here. I don't think I've ever seen like them dumbing down masonry.
It's always kind of been the same.
Let me correct me. I'm going to correct myself. No, because the fireplace veneers and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
That's dumbing down masonry at that point, right?
Right.
They treat it as if it's tile, and then
because that's almost our trade.
Exactly, right. Then they start having a conversation. Do we get the mason? Do we get the tile setter to do this as well, right? So at that point, it's a veneer. You can get either to do it.
Yeah.
I
Right?
vote Tyler. Just saying.
I would at that point treat it more as a tile than I would as a masonry product. Right. But you're still using the principles of, and I've done this too, even for my brother and his wife, because she wanted a brick back. And I argued this to death. Because she wanted a brick veneer pattern as a backsplash.
As a backsplash?
Yeah. Around the whole kitchen and with proper 3/8 mortar joints. And I said, and then she's like, I wasn't happy with the color of the brick. So I want to full finish the brick and then seal it. And I was like,
paint it?
Yeah. I kept on arguing. And I was like, all right, let me know what this is going to look like in 2 years when you finish cooking with the tomato sauce, right?
Yeah.
They sold it before that period, so I don't know how it turned out.
It was interesting. We did the one in Hyde Park where they left part of the brick.
Oh, the original brick.
The original brick, and that's where the kitchen happened to be, and we had to replicate a little section of it.
With veneer brick?
With the same kind of brick. And she said, do as messy as you can, do it. And you know how hard it was to make it look messy, like the old ones?
It's very challenging.
It was very hard. It was very
hard.
How did you?
So you guys found the product that?
Well, she had it. Yeah. Oh, she found it.
We didn't source it.
No, she had it.
And it looked like the original Holmes brick?
Yeah. It
was pretty
close.
But
the original home brick, they had pieces put in, cut in half, a little piece here, a little piece there.
Like they really patched it in.
Like there was real patchwork, and she said, try to make it look like that. And that was tough.
To make it look bad.
To make it look bad, yes.
Yeah, I know. I've seen that before.
We still have to cut it with something straight, a grinder or something. And, I think 1 or 2 times we even tried taking the hammer
we chiseled
to it.
We got the hammer, smacked it. And
just to make it look a little more jagged and natural to how the existing was.
And then be real messy with the mortar, too, as well, for the joints.
Yeah. I mean, that's hard to do, too. Like,
that's right.
You don't want to, as much as that is how it is. And
this was like the cooking area too?
Yeah.
And then did you guys end up sealing?
I don't know. It was a rental, actually.
Really?
Yeah, it was a rental property.
So they just wanted to continue it to make it
They just wanted to continue that brick that they left there. Yeah.
It's going to be very messy over time, especially a rental. Like, they're not going to keep it clean, right?
Yeah, I know.
So I don't know if I'm a fan of that.
But again, it's all about the look, not about...
I know, but that brick would, like... absorb everything.
It would absorb, yeah. I'm not sure if she ended up sealing it or anything.
Even sealing it though, when you're getting stains on it, like it's got all these little nooks and crannies in it that it'll never clean up properly.
No, it's hard.
No, I wasn't a fan of that, right? So I agree with you guys. Like a big slab for a backsplash makes a lot of sense to me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
In the wet area, the cooking area, the prep area, it makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah. A lot of people are continuing their countertop just up the wall.
I don't know.
Quite a few people are doing that, I've seen.
It seems like too much of the same stone in one area, right?
Yeah, I feel that way too. But,
But then you're not going to get
like their veins.
You're not going to get two similar stones. You almost
that's the mistake.
You almost need two contrasting.
You want contrast.
one with veins, one without, or different color or something.
But they do that with the slabs for the island versus the perimeter. They'll always do a contrast.
Yeah.
They'll spend more money on the island one versus the perimeter one.
True.
And then you've got the backsplash and stuff, right? So
that's true.
Shower-wise, I guess they're all going slabs nowadays, right?
We still get a lot of the 12 by 24.
Okay.
We've been doing a lot of the 48 by 24 lately.
Yeah.
That's one of our favorite standard tiles now. It's less cuts. Like, yeah, the cuts have to be more precise, but that's pretty easy now. It's more just a matter of how many cuts you have to do.
Yeah.
So if a shower is just under 8 feet, you're making a cut on the bottom, a cut on the top, 2 tiles, you've hit the ceiling already. And you can move pretty fast. Like, we just did a kitchen floor yesterday. I think we hit 150 square feet before lunch. And yeah, we banged out this whole tiling job.
2 foot by 4 foot tiles.
Tile, yeah.
How many plumbing fixtures? How many holes did you guys have to make?
We had to make a few holes.
Couple of plumbing lines coming up.
Dishwasher, sink,
and the sink,
hot and cold, and then the refrigeration line.
Yeah, the water line for the fridge.
That's a lot. That's pretty fast.
But it was a pretty square room.
Yeah.
Right. So not very many cuts besides a couple of holes.
And we did a lot more than that by the end of the day.
It was a good floor. It was nice and flat too. It wasn't, wavy or anything.
There wasn't any problems. You guys already showed up. It was already all good to go. And
we had the membrane down already.
Okay. You already started tiling at that point, right? So you were tiling, but it was all
I think the
laid
night
out.
before I had done 6 tiles that kind of had a few L cuts, the planning, get that straight line, and then after that it was just go.
Everybody, I guess, these days is just asking for mitering from you guys, right?
Yeah.
Niches and mitering. Those are all the specialties.
And we're telling them to go that way too.
It's easier for you guys? Better?
I wouldn't say easier. Like, the edging or quartz is easier to do.
Yeah.
But the mitering looks 10 times better.
It does.
I love it. I still have people going through my pictures on Instagram, going back a few years and commenting about the miters in them and stuff. And those aren't even like the nicest of the nicest.
The best ones of that time, right?
Yeah.
Like, we prefer the mitering just because of the look. It gives that wow factor every time.
But then if you got a porcelain miter and you get a damaged porcelain miter, trying to repair that is going to be a nightmare. But if you get a natural stone miter, you can repair that.
That's a lot easier.
Yeah.
But sometimes we're not always doing that for the natural stone. Like, you can have a clean square edge. The miter looks amazing with the natural stone. We always try to go that route. Yeah. And I think about 90% of the time you are. It's only if you're trying to like match up to something that was existing where they had it finished one way, you're going to do it that way too. But yeah, like, we did a full house of natural stone. That one in Rosedale.
What was the stone?
It was different stones in each bathroom.
But all natural? Everyone?
All natural. Yeah, I can't even remember the names, but they were
one was
all
a
different.
Limestone, one was a travertine, and one...
I think there was the Bianco Carrera in the primary.
Yes, that's right.
And each niche had the natural stone. We did the works there. Curbless, heated floors, linear drains, and... that's still one of the most fun jobs we did.
Yeah, that was quite a bit. Yeah.
Why was this like working with the material?
Yeah.
Okay.
The material, the job site, like everything was in our favor. We worked out the niches full to full, make those grout lines clean and consistent.
How big were the niches?
Just 24-inch.
Okay.
Like the size of 1 or 2 tiles.
Okay.
And yeah, when you're doing it like that with the niche, grout line to grout line, and you're mitering, you're not doing these L cuts or these U cuts, and then you have to miter, bend yourself backwards. Like, it's pretty simple, and it looks the best.
It looks best, yeah.
I thought, like, are not people asking for bigger niches these days? Like wall-to-wall niches in a 3260?
Wall-to-wall is different. Like, you can still you're making one cut.
Yeah.
Right, and then just the sidewalls, you might have to do a little notch. That's nothing. But sometimes if they're asking for like an odd size, like 32-inch, you know, like that's, you're going to have some kind of L cut there, which won't look bad. But in our opinion, our professional opinion, it looks a lot better when these grout lines are all kind of flowing with each other.
Yeah, it does. It looks a lot nicer, right?
It looks all nice when you're going tile to tile.
Do you guys get a lot of homeowners that don't want tile on the ceiling in a shower?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Why?
Probably the majority.
Why?
The look?
Because the designer likes the clean look from the bathroom into the shower all one.
But water gets up there and steam gets up there.
Yeah, not all of them. Like, it depends on how their glass is, if they have an opening, if they have a good fan that's right by it, or a window.
They just don't want tile on the ceiling?
Yeah.
A lot. Most of them don't.
Sometimes it comes down to budget. Like, it is a lot more expensive for us to do that.
I know nowadays they're doing away with all these oil-based paints. Before, it used to repel the water.
Oh, yeah.
But now you got all the water-based paints. But there's still special ones for kitchen and baths. So I'm really not 100% sure how good of a job they do at repelling water.
But I go back to the hardwood application, where that section of the ceiling is going to get more stress from the usage of it.
Right.
But I mean, you're right. If you got a good fan, it's going to suck all the humidity out of there, right? But it's just like when you're cleaning the shower, I don't know anybody who doesn't just take, like, you scrub and you spray whatever product you want to use, and then you get your hand shower and you hose it all down. The towel goes up to the ceiling. So what do you do? Avoid the hand shower from touching?
Yeah.
Like, you're going to get water is my point. You're
but a lot of the ceilings nowadays, they're all that 8-foot ceiling. Nobody makes that little bulkhead that way they used to come down.
No, they don't
shower.
do that. That was way back when.
So the ceiling height now is all in the shower is all 8 foot.
But doesn't it, like,
as
am
well?
I thinking that it doesn't look finished? Like, the designers think it looks finished by not having tile on the ceiling. I think it looks unfinished by not having tile on the ceiling. Am I wrong, or am I, like, what am I?
I don't think you're wrong, but I also don't know if you're right.
Yeah,
like it's really back to personal preference
at that time.
Some people, they
I got
just
a couple
don't
of
like
designers coming in. I'm going to
box.
pick their brain about it.
Yeah, you should.
Well, you're right, because that box was designed for just laziness to save on money on tile, but it forced them to put tile on that bottom part of the box.
Tile on
Yeah,
there.
Right. But even if they don't have like the bulkhead, they're just putting the tile where the glass goes. Some people, they really don't like that. And we've had some people like hate it.
Again, it's all look and not functionality. Functionality, yeah, tile would be best because it's all water enclosed, right? But it's just the look.
It's personal preference, I think.
And we've had some people kind of make that decision last minute, and then it's like, okay, it's not just this price to tile it now, because there's always a separate price for tiling this ceiling. And now it's like, okay, well, we need to cut the drywall. We need to put up a proper waterproof board and then tile. So that price is more than what you think now. So like this has to be kind of decided when you're designing the house and picking your materials. It's not just like we're going to do it now.
I remember I was doing a job and the conversation of trying to create a stone crown, because I wanted the crown to go into the shower. And I said I was never going to put a wood crown or an MDF crown, never going to touch MDF and make it go into the shower, right? Even though it was an 8-foot high ceiling. So I started entertaining the idea of doing all the homework and the research to try to figure out, how do I take a profile of a crown that was being used in this bathroom and try to copy it into a stone application. And the numbers were just going through the roof at that point.
You got the guys who make the fireplace lentils.
Yeah, but it was just getting very, very expensive to do this, right? So then the next solution that I came up with was I lowered the ceiling in the shower by the height of the crown, and then I just kept the crown outside of the shower at this point.
Right.
And then, but I still put tile on the inside of the shower.
Yeah.
So then the crown came along, and then it went right in. So it still looked custom. It kind of gave it that sense, but they didn't spend the money on creating a custom stone crown to match the rest of the crown.
And then there's always the fact that the tiles, the grout lines never line up. on the ceiling.
Well, that was
they only line up with either the back wall or the two sides. You can, unless they're perfectly square tiles, you can't get them to line up on all three.
And that's my biggest gripe with pencil rail and all those little moldings, right? Like, what's wrong with you people? Why do you create these things at 6-inch lengths or 12-inch lengths?
So,
like, I never understood that.
So the designers hate that if the grout lines can't line up.
It drives them crazy.
Yeah, it drives me crazy too. I don't like the look.
I did the one job where I was actually fortunate enough to actually get stone and do lengths of 8 foot long because I had the wainscoting all out of stone, and then I carried it right to the edge profile of the vanity top. That wasn't easy. It was challenging, right? But yeah, it was like contoured cut and then had to get sanded down. And we were actually using a marble, and it was all fiberglass backed because it was fragile. It was extremely fragile. There was 2 pieces that broke just traveling them inside the house.
Yep.
Then I was like, how do we fix this? Well, the good thing is it's marble, so we can actually fix it on site.
Yeah.
Because you can do the repair right then and there to fix it, right?
Yeah.
But that was not easy. It was tricky to get the wainscoting chair rail to actually go into the actual vanity. That became the vanity profile.
Oh. Right.
Right? Which was really nice, but that's challenging.
Yeah, it was.
At that point, right? And we were mixing porcelain for the wainscoting rails and styles and then mixing it with a marble that looks similar in color-wise, right? It was slightly off. But once you looked at it, you were bombarded. It blended in nicely, right?
Right.
But there's always ways of doing it. It's just very, very expensive sometimes to do it, right?
It's time consuming.
Yep. Yeah.
And one thing my dad used to do when we started was he'd tile the ceiling on a 45.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the perfect thing you're supposed to do for a steam shower, right?
You know?
You're supposed to put it on an angle.
No, the tiles would be cut on a 45. So if the walls are going like this and then these ones are going like this, he would put these ceiling.
Because the lines are never going
to match. And at least this way.
One or two sides will never match.
Yeah. Right.
So if you might as well just not make any of them match.
Any match. So I would put them on, I would convince the customer, I'd put the ceiling on a 45.
That's a good solution.
To make it look.
That's a good solution.
I haven't done that in a long time, though.
But then you're getting more. I guess, are you guys saying that there's more people and clients and designers that don't want material on the ceiling?
Yeah.
Than do want material?
Oh, yeah.
Well, what do the trades want? They want tile on the ceiling.
Well, personally, I'd rather not do a ceiling. It's so much more work.
It's a lot more work.
It's a lot more
Especially
work.
if it's a heavy tile.
Bring
in the jacks.
And you need a lot. And 2x4s. Because we hate it when you're just putting the jack up and that's it. Like, you need something straight and long, and we don't want to use our levels that we spend so much money on to bend them.
You need a hat and goggles when you're grouting, and, like, water's running down your arm, and, like,
that's
it's
the
just...
best part, though.
It's just so...
But even after it's all set and it's all done and grout, in the back of your head, you're still thinking, is that going to fall one day?
Yeah.
It's only, like, biting...
I've learned my lesson a few times. Like, we were working with another tile guy, and we were using smaller teeth.
Okay.
And the tile fell on me. And after that, I was always very adamant on how much cement to use, the proper teeth, make sure you squish it in there nicely.
What size tile was it?
It wasn't that big. Like, it was like
12 by 24, I think.
Yeah, I thought it was a little more skinnier and longer, but it was probably something like that. Or it was a cut piece of that.
So
maybe.
No jacks, right? You guys were just...
We were, yeah, because we've done plenty of tiles that size, the 12 by 24, without the jacks, and have had zero issues. Yeah, but if we're doing anything bigger than that, 1,000% we're using the jacks.
Yeah.
Now, you really have to know what you're doing and how to do it to make sure that thing is not falling if you're not using a support.
Well, jacks and no drywall, it has to be cementatious substrate, right?
Yeah.
Because drywall, you're just biting into the paper, right?
Yeah.
You might get lucky.
Do not trust.
I will not trust ever. It doesn't matter because that will eventually come off, I think. If it bites into the cement, it's there. That board that whole board has. I mean, we've demoed. Like, it's great when we're demoing and all of a sudden you grab one piece and it just like the whole piece comes out at that time. Yeah, you're like, oh, that's amazing. That's great. Or even you do the old ceramic tiles and you just touch one and all of a sudden the rest of them just pop
like
right off.
Pop.
And then the lines are still there. And I'm like, okay, well, that wasn't wet or set properly or whatever the story was. So You just learn from that process,
That's
right?
Yeah.
And I think we've demoed a shower out in the East End once that was like a mud wall.
Oh.
And we had our little jackhammer in there, and I think it took us 2.5 days
forever.
to demo.
That wasn't was that a plaster wall?
Yeah, it was like plaster, but it was like thick.
But you were
thick.
taking it right down to the studs at that point.
Yeah.
You weren't just taking the tile off.
No, we were going right down through the mesh, through everything,
Yeah,
and it was on the ceiling.
Had the wire mesh.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that
and
was
it was
a
like
plaster wall.
the 3 walls
House
plus
or condo?
It was a house.
It's a house.
And oh my god, yeah, we were crying.
It had the jackhammer on the wall.
Because it was bit right into this.
Well, I had the wire mesh. We just couldn't.
Every time, usually what we're doing is
Couldn't
we
get
take
it
a hammer, break the perimeter, and then you can just pull it off of the studs.
And it wasn't coming.
But this one, you were just swinging, and it would just dent it a little bit, and you couldn't make a hole.
That's why the argument of like mud dog guys, where
Yeah.
they just coat it, right?
Which, you know, they're right to
It's
do.
valid. It's totally
it's
valid.
super strong.
Yeah, but
Built
it's
for
a lot
life.
of work. It's
Yeah.
extreme amount of work.
A lot of work and
a lot of time.
How many people are going to leave their showers untouched for 30, 40 years?
They won't. They're going to
Right?
change them a lot
They're going to change them a
faster.
lot quicker, right?
What do you guys see the turnaround being? Like how fast? I guess they're being changed based on trends.
Yeah, or leaks and mold.
But why would you? Well, I guess if it's a previous one wasn't done properly, then you get leaks and mold, right? At that point. But if you're doing fully waterproof materials of some sort, and a tray or dry pack and waterproofed again, it's never going to fail. Technically,
No,
speaking,
it shouldn't.
Right? Shouldn't fail, right?
Shouldn't.
Yeah.
If it's done right, it shouldn't.
Unless there's a water failure in the supply line and it's dripping and it's getting behind the material now. That's a different story. But
But I don't think we've personally demoed a shower that was done with any of these new waterproof products. Like maybe one.
Yeah, I don't.
Otherwise,
think that many.
another contractor or someone's demoed it, and we walk in, we just see studs. But other than that, everything we've demoed has been like 20 plus years old.
Yeah.
And it's all been like on some kind of green drywall.
Besides that last one with the 4x4 tiles.
Oh, well, that one they had a leak.
Then when they had a leak. So they did this shower. They did 4 foot by 4 foot tiles in the shower.
how big is the shower? 4 foot?
It was
wider.
6 feet
Okay, right.
by 3 or something. But they used 4x4 tiles.
Okay.
They did it in the spring. And in September, they had a leak.
And the leak was coming from where?
Well, we determined, first of all, the floor was, they had the linear drain down one end. The floor was sloped the other way towards the bench.
Friday install.
They had a shower pan there.
Like
That's
a liner.
that's a line
rubber
or a
li-
rubber
yeah.
liner.
A
Sorry,
rubber
a rubber
liner.
liner. So, yeah, that somebody pierced.
With the nail from
With-
which trade?
Some
screw.
trade, someone pierced
Most
it.
likely the
'cause
tile guy or something.
Because the water was sitting on the other end and it was just leaking right through. Because drywallers came in, plumber, somebody, and pierced the liner.
We see a lot of times these people, the plumber's putting the liner in, and then they start drywalling, and you walk in and you see screws
At
in
the
there.
bottom.
Screws on the floor.
And people are still walking in there, and you're wondering to yourself, like, am I the only one? Am I crazy for thinking, like, this is wrong? Like, what do these people not care?
It's obvious it's a shower that we're talking about here.
Yeah.
Like any trade that goes in there, electrician, plumber, anybody, it's a shower.
So when I was first talking to this person, I said, we have to remove the first row of tile, thinking it'd be 12 by 24, 24 by 24, and I get there, and it's half the wall because they're 4x4 tiles. Oh, man. We had to remove.
What a pain.
It's half
right?
the
Yeah.
wall.
It actually wasn't much of a pain because they were spot setted. So the demo for that was really easy.
We started hitting one corner and it broke right away. We were like, wow. And we,
All the whole tile was like.
oh yeah, yeah. You just see these big blobs.
See, there's that argument that I had one time with a slab installer. So you're getting kitchen slab installers that are crossing the line now to tile slab installers, and I've never seen a kitchen slab installer ever notch or put some sort of mortar material full coverage. What do? They take out their caulking gun and
Yeah.
Or they get their margin trowel, scoop
or
it
a
up,
margin trowel and
plop,
just plop,
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 plop, plop, and then slap it right on, and that's it. Then they slap it and they walk away, and that's not going to go anywhere. I go, well, that's not going to survive either, right? Over time. So that's where the difference is, where it's like,
I guess if it's a backsplash.
Yes, but if it's a bathroom, but the problem is that you'll get a designer home or a GC going, since you're here, and why don't you take care of the slab here in the shower? And then that's what they do, the caulking slab.
That's different. Yeah. That's different.
Which is the wrong way to do it. I know you guys just recently posted where you did the full coverage on a slab.
Oh, every time.
Just before it was about to go in there, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, it's done for a reason that way, right?
Yeah.
This podcast episode has been sponsored by Class & Bronze Limited, authorized Canadian and U.S. wholesale distributor of Pagan heavy-duty, high-performance tile leveling systems and installation tools. Choosing to buy outstanding and beautiful tiles also requires buying an exceptional tile leveling system. For hassle-free installation and an exceptional leveled finish, choose Pagrin. Imitate it, never duplicate it. Available at Amazon, select ProSol stores, and purchased at www.tilelevelingsystems.shop. You can also find Pagrin on social at Tile Leveling Systems and their website, www.pagrin.com.
Yeah. And I still see some people using like a 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch trowel for these thin 6mm slabs, and even on the floors. And I'm can't understand how this thing is not cracking. Like you need to go with something smaller.
You're not getting full coverage at that point.
You can't.
Right? If anything, with a slab, what's the rule of thumb now? You're supposed to get 80% or 85%?
90.
Oh, I think more
90%.
Most manufacturers are specifying like around 90 or something.
So you gotta get full coverage.
Percent coverage.
Yeah, and in the shower, you want like more than 95. 100 you want, really.
Yeah.
But people are doing what they want out there, which is why, we keep trying to post about this, keep trying to excel and do the best of the best, because eventually these people are going to get kicked to the curb, and then we're going to be the last one standing.
To think that that's what would happen. But the point is the price point. They've already spent all this money on the slab, and then they want to install it as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
But you don't, it has to be sold a certain way.
If you're going to spend that money, you buy a Ferrari, you want to take care of it properly.
No, you just
right? You're not going to bring it to anybody to get fixed.
Go to Canadian Tire and just get some regular lawnmower oil and just put that inside the Ferrari.
Right.
That's
so,
all.
why spend that money initially then if that's how you're going to, take care of it? But
that's the constant argument that you guys would have designers and homeowners trying to justify the extremes they think to go to properly install this, right? Yeah. It's going to be a funny landscape in construction in 10 years when you start demoing all these projects that everyone's been featuring on social media now with all these new products to see how this is I know that the argument has been a lot of guys talking about renovating projects in the future regarding spray foam. How the mechanicals are all going to have a nightmare because electrical, plumbing, and HVAC running through all these spray foam cavities, and now you want to gut and renovate this area, and you're just going to be chipping away at
You're going to be chipping away at all this foam. You can't even run new wires.
No, you'll have to just, I said, listen, the solution is you're just going to cut off. These are all dead ends now, and you're going to start from scratch all over again.
But running new wires when the spray foam has a whole cavity
You'll
filled.
still be using the claw of your hammer to rip it all out and then run your lines at that point, right? Yeah. But that's going to be the interesting landscape in 10 years from now. And then are you going to get a backlash of people saying, I'm not a fan of the foam tray in the shower. I'm not a fan of this because of that. And it's just, is it going to change the landscape and go back to like Mud Dog guys where it's like, we should have just been doing cement fully and that's it, done. But then look at the nightmare you guys have to remove that. I don't think that's the solution, no.
No, but I don't think so. I think people still stick to it.
Yeah.
Because I think in maybe 10 years from now, more and more of this stuff is going to become obsolete. The dry packing and all that, right? And they're going to...
Dry packing is still on top of my list for larger size custom shower spaces, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't think that... I can't tell you the last time that I built a shower that actually fit exactly the size of the tray. And then you start cutting or modifying.
Yeah.
Right? So and then you're dry packing certain parts of it to fill in the space. So it's a mix match of that point, right? Yeah. You do the foam because it's tray and it goes right in. It's nice. It works out with the linear drain, all this other stuff, which is great.
But the Prova, they actually have, it's not just like they have separate sizes of the pans. They have
That's right.
1 or 2 sizes, and then they have these extension kits. So you just add another piece onto it.
Right.
And after you add that piece, you put a piece of the 1/2-inch board underneath to continue raising it. So the extensions are all the same, but you're just adding more of their waterproof board to continue raising it. So you can go fill this whole room up with their shower pans.
Pretty much,
It'll be a lot higher when you get to the door if the drain is over there. But it's so that you're not buying like a 72-inch
cutting it down
and then cutting it down to 50.
It. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's very very universal, very good for a lot of applications.
Yeah.
And then everyone's doing linear drains these days. Nobody wants a regular square drain. Or
No, they still want the square.
In the center?
Yeah, or sometimes it's the offset.
I remember I did a class with Kohler, and they did a study, and nobody wants to stand in the middle of a shower where the drain is because in the mind, it determines that you're standing in dirty water as you're showering. So that's why they started pushing the drain away from the center. Yeah. So then as you're showering, the dirty water is leaving you. And I'm like, how dirty are you? Like that? You think that water's dirty at the.
It's for when people have the unclean drain and it starts to build up a little bit.
So it's already flooding at that point.
Then you're really standing in it. Yeah,
and that's when you need a curb.
Yeah, or that's when you stand at the other end because.
But that's not a tile problem. That's a plumbing problem.
Yeah, or a cleaning problem.
Whatever. Or a cleaning problem, exactly, right? But that's why you have like baskets so you can collect a bunch of hair or whatever else is going down the drain, right?
It also makes it easier for the curbless with the center drain.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, yeah, 100%. You have less buildup around the perimeter.
I wish they would introduce more matching, like a lot of the plumbing companies would start introducing more matching options regarding the drain options out there.
The grates?
Yeah.
There's quite a few now.
They're slowly but surely, but the problem is that you're just getting small parts of black being introduced. I have yet to see a rose gold one. Rose gold is getting big on plumbing fixture wise when it comes to more high-end homes.
Yeah.
You're getting vibrant gold. I've never seen a drain matching vibrant gold, right? But then the argument is designers and homeowners go, well, just make it tileable then. Just make it a tileable drain at that point.
Sure. I mean, they have a lot of a couple golds, the white, black, chrome.
The Prova actually has a lot of colors like graphite. They've got all these different types of grays and like more natural looking colors. Some of them aren't always matching the plumbing fixtures. Like a lot of people are going pretty basic with the colors, like not to say basic, but like black, gold, white, stainless steel.
Yeah, but you see, like those golds there, unless the plumbing manufacturer they
have to get on Tinder.
They have to get together. Otherwise, the colors will never.
But
match.
They never do. That's the thing about it, right? And then it's just I always had a problem since day one. Stainless steel. I've never installed a stainless steel plumbing fixture, assembly valve, or shower head. Like nobody has a stainless steel unless you're in prison.
Steel. Yeah.
Right? Like that's a different story. But it's just like the shower valve and the volume control and the hand shower and that shower head. Nobody makes it in stainless steel.
Chrome, if anything.
Chrome. Or you get a brush stainless. That brush stainless doesn't look like the stainless from the drain. So that's why I keep on going back and forth. Like you're right. The two companies have to get in bed with each other where this needs to be complementary, but then that becomes a whole fiasco at that point, right?
Yeah.
You're going back to the tileable. I remember I had an idea I wanted to do a shower where there was no drain in the center, there was no linear drain. I wanted to actually just put a 1/2-inch line around the perimeter of the shower. That was the drain because the full drain was a center drain underneath a slab of stone.
Okay.
I still haven't figured out how you lift up that slab to get access to the drain if it ever gets clogged.
I think Weedy makes one like that.
Like a whole floor?
It's in the wall. It's on the floor.
I've seen the wall one.
On one wall they do it.
But now you're
not
just
the whole thing.
But you're taking a linear and you're just putting it into the wall at that point, right?
Something.
And it kind of looked like the Aria event where you have that piece coming out. And it's kind of
I just wanted to create like almost like a round shower, and then the whole perimeter of the shower is the drain.
Yeah.
But you have to still get access to that drain in the center.
Yeah.
So and without like if you lift up that slab and then if you were stupid about it, you drop it, you crack it, now you got to start all over again.
Yeah.
That's the part I haven't figured out that part yet. Right? Because I agree that
you need like an access panel made out of tile or something.
How at that point, right? Like I don't.
Yeah.
It would. The idea was to create like an infinity drain.
Yeah.
Where the water would just go around to the whole perimeter and then just disappear, and you wouldn't be standing in water or dirty water or whatever. But that's a challenging one. I never liked the idea of putting the drain at the opening of the shower.
Yeah.
I didn't like putting the drain at the end of the shower because then you'll have two sides that you'll get a wedge cut.
Yeah.
I never liked an insert piece that was stainless steel as the insert, so then now your tiles can all be straight.
Yeah.
That wasn't a solution. So then it's like I never liked that sloping part of it. Either going to the opening or to the back part of the shower, because now you're starting messing around with the lines of the tile at that point. And tile is all about lines, right?
Yeah.
And then you get the niche and you get all this other, like there's all kinds of things.
Oh yeah.
I guess there's like problems being created and then solutions being made, but then there's more problems being created and then
other problems.
What do you do? Just go back to the go-to tub and just alcove and bulkhead and tile that and no niche.
The acrylic base and that's
acrylic
it.
base. You go back to old school at that point.
That's it.
The retro bathroom.
Yeah.
That's what it becomes. But nobody wants that.
No.
Everybody wants the challenging, like they want to show off their shower with the most extreme kind of tile, large or intricate. And then you get the classic clients that will select tiles of different thicknesses. And they want a border.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you guys know where I'm going with this,
well,
right?
borders they've gone out now.
Nobody does borders anymore?
No. That was big when we first started way back.
We still
All
did
these borders. Been very now.
We did one with the marble.
Yes.
But that's one out of the year.
That was different, yeah. Very few. We used to do the border with those thin glass and stone ones.
Yeah.
A 3-inch border with those.
I remember there was a supplier that had Swarovski. How do you say the crystal?
Okay,
Swarovski, whatever. Yeah. Little border lines, eh?
Really?
Like 3/4, I would say 19 mil by, again, pissed me off, 12 inches, I think, lengthwise.
It was a full
but
12.
They were like $500 each piece.
Wow.
I said, I'll never sell this.
Yeah.
This will never fly. It looked beautiful.
Oh, I'm sure.
Like a little thin line of just sparkly going on there, right? I was like, nah, that's never going to sell. But then I kind of like how they started introducing the inserts of brass and stuff. You got to put that into the tile. Have you guys tackled that before?
No.
We were about to, actually, on the last job, just because the height of the ceiling was a little bit bigger than the slab.
Yeah, it was a 9-foot ceiling with an 8-foot slab. Yeah.
Who makes an 8-foot slab?
Oh, yeah, there's quite a few 4x8s. Slabs that are 4x8, yeah.
Why not treat it like, it would still be too short. So 9 foot.
Yeah.
So you want a little gold accent on top and then put another piece of tile above that. But then he changed his mind and went with the full height slab.
So you got the largest slab then?
Yeah, then he got So
he had 1 foot offcuts at that point.
Yeah.
I still would have did the metal. I think metal's a good option in tile. Metal and tile mixture.
Makes nice.
If it's done a certain way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I wouldn't go to the craziness of where you start seeing in certain, I guess, Eastern European countries where you start seeing tile, metal, and an accent of light. You know what I'm saying? Where that's that flavor that's going on right now, where you're starting to see a lot of light where it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
there's some backsplashes with the tile and metal mixed in.
I've seen those as well too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not too crazy about it, but putting those little LEDs in every now and then can be kind of cool.
But if it's just like a disco at that point, where it's like a club now, like
actually, that's what I was gonna say. One commercial job we did, off-road bar in Toronto.
Never been. No.
Oh, you definitely.
I'm in my 50s.
It's still worth it. We went for his birthday.
Okay.
We did all the tiles in the floor there. And for the VIP lounge,
I want to check it out now. Okay.
Yeah, you definitely need to. For the VIP lounge, we did some miter steps. There's like 3 of them, and just underneath the return, they had a little LED strip so you could see each step.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And that looked really cool.
Yeah.
So you just put an LED strip behind.
Yeah.
On the bottom of
it. But the face of the tread, was it a piece of metal molding?
No, it was tile.
It was just tile.
It was tile.
Yeah. Also, but right underneath it, you put a light there.
Yeah.
That's pretty slick.
Oh, yeah. It looked really sharp.
Yeah, it looks sharp. It's all black tile and then this little LED.
Because then you get a little bit of light in an
each
atmosphere that you need the light there for accent.
Well,
otherwise,
so you can see this. So you make sure you see the step too.
Exactly right.
Right.
What are you guys using? What's your favorite go-to cement these days?
We're in the Laddicrete area now. We were using the Ardex before, but the dry time is just way too quick for that.
On the Ardex one?
Yeah, it's good for some applications if you're doing some small tile and kind of want it to hold in place really fastly. But the Laddicrete, I think, is the way to go now.
Yeah.
It seems to have a longer pot life, especially, training someone. You're taking a little bit more time out of your day to discuss things. And it's got a large variety of selection. Like the Tri-Light, the Platinum is one of the strongest I've ever used.
Are we still like, I remember back in my day, like I didn't care about non-modified. I used it once and I was like, I don't care. I want glue and everything.
Yeah.
So are they still selling non-modified products where it's like supposed to be used?
Yeah.
Really? They're still doing that?
Well, they're still doing it, but we don't use that.
It's the Schluter.
Yeah.
That specifies you have to use non-modified for their...
How many times you guys have to pull out the warranty and start talking about warranty, about failures of certain things? And how many times you guys Frankenstein mixes and...
Yeah, well, that's why we started using the Ardex, because we were doing a lot of Schluter.
Yeah.
And this was before they had their own cement even.
But the Ardex stuff wasn't modified?
No, it's a chemical dry, so it'll dry with or without air.
Yeah.
It'll dry in its own time frame. Okay. Same with Tech.
Okay.
They're like that too.
But that's what guys liked about it. It was bulletproof, where it's like, just use this. If you had the question, just use this.
Yeah.
Use this,
Okay.
But now, we're not using the Schluter. Not a fan of it.
Not a fan of it anymore?
No, I mean, they still make good drains, but...
but I go back to the finishes.
Yeah.
Stainless steel doesn't work for me at all. Ever. Never has. And they can't make enough of the profiles, the different versions in black for me.
Yeah.
And not everybody from my conversations now is going black fixtures, plumbing fixtures. They're skewing towards those vibrant colors, the rose gold, the vibrant gold, brass. They're going to these really nice different colors now because they look more classier with lighter white, Calcutta, Bianca, like that kind of stone. They look a lot nicer. I know that for a few years, that black contrast with the white stone was the go-to thing. The problem
still is for a lot.
It is until you are a dirty person regarding taking a shower with the soap scum and you don't rinse off your shower at the end of it because you're feeling cold or whatever. Yeah. And then all that black fixture stuff starts to create all this soap scum on the top of it. Right. And now you got to go in there and CLR it to death to clean up black stuff when you don't have to do that with any of the vibrant tones, right? So that's my little rant about, I've always been a hate on about bright or stainless steel, anything. Yeah. It doesn't make sense. It has no place in a bathroom, a luxury bathroom. Yeah. It doesn't. So I agree with you on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the black is delicate for the plumbers to work with as well. They all hate it because the scratches easy.
What, scratches their nails or something like that? Their manicures all messed up. Like I don't know. Like they're all the smart ones are wearing gloves these days. Like
or they're using a rag to kind of turn all that kind of stuff.
Plus, any good manufacturer brings that product inside of a cloth-based package.
Yeah, but it's when they're putting it on.
But when they say just handling it, they scratch.
No, it's when they get their wrench and they put it on. That's where this showed up scratched. Can you send me another one? Yeah, really, it looks like some C crescent wrench marks there. That's what that looks like, right? Teeth marks. Listen, I'm guilty of that too. Okay, I've done that. I think the black is good. It's good, right? And you just get a Sharpie and you just fix it.
You got a Sharpie.
There you go. Just rub it in a little bit.
No, you get you order another one, but so there's limitations on that at that point you were saying. What about nobody does benches anymore, eh? Like full box benches anymore. Everybody wants floating benches now.
Yeah, I mean, we're still doing the box bench.
Really? Huh?
We really want to do a floating bench, but it's a little bit more costly, and it takes a lot more time. Most likely, you're going to miter that floating bench. Which to have a piece of quartz sitting on there, and then to have everything else a little bit of an overhang or kind of flush, because the quartz always has that micro bevel.
Yep.
So we always kind of stay flush with the micro bevel. That way, otherwise you have this indentation right there, and it's kind of silly looking. Like, it looks and feels a little better to have it in more. But a floating bench, like, you can't.
What are you
I don't want to do that. I personally love the miter on the floating bench so much more. So if we're doing that, we're doing the miters.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
So the cost is a little bit more. But with the box benches, we're putting the piece of quartz, tiling everything else perfectly, and it looks finished the way it should look.
Yeah.
Now, we've done mitered box benches before, and it looks incredible. But the quartz looks equally as good, too.
My problem aesthetically with the box benches is it when it gets and it hits the glass shower enclosure.
Yeah, because then they either have to notch the quartz, or notch the glass.
There's always a couple inches sticking out from the glass.
Or you put it right up against it.
And then there's a gap.
If there's a gap, or you don't seal it properly and water gets behind there, like it just becomes this problem, right?
It's,
like you've come up with a solution, but it becomes a problem, right?
Yeah.
I think the best solution is to notch the quartz, not the glass.
I agree.
And just make a little slot very precisely, and then you have your piece going straight. And you can still silicone the hell out of that. And
what are the homeowners, designers asking for?
We're usually not involved.
But they just telling you, right? So they're asking for a box bench. They're asking for the shower. They're bringing it up that way, right?
Yeah. But a lot of people, they still don't know about the floating benches. Like, they don't understand how it's built, how strong it is.
But actually, last time we did one, we left and they were getting a piece of quartz made to slide in the steel supports.
I've seen it that way too, yeah.
Right?
And that looks really good like that.
But there's still, here's the thing is that I've done a couple of them. They're slick, and I've tried to reinforce them as best as I possibly can, but there is still a little bit of give, right?
Yeah.
And we still would do color match grout at the point where it intersects with the wall, right? Because that's going to be a possible crack point, right? Like the mortar will actually crack at that point.
Right.
So I've done it because I don't. It's like wall-mounted toilets.
Well, I was just going to mention that right now because we did these slabs where they had, in two of the bathrooms, where they had wall-mounted toilets in both of them.
And the vanities.
And the wall-mounted vanity. And the customers worried sick that the pressure, if somebody sits on the edge of the toilet, that it's going to go like this, and the bottom of it is going to be putting pressure on the slab, that the slab will crack.
So my thought process with that is that it has to have full coverage bond behind there, like solid at that point.
Well, we did make sure of that. But other
it's
than
still
that,
a risk.
It's still a risk.
You could get a pretty big person sitting down on that toilet, and I know that the limitations on some of those
350 pounds.
Yeah, it's like there's still people that are bigger than that.
But if somebody sits on the edge, closer to the front,
it's physics at that point. So all of a sudden now
you're adding more pressure.
Yeah, right.
Or if they've had,
and it's only as strong as your studs in the wall, even though you got a steel frame.
So even if you go full coverage on that slab, it's the weakness of that stud.
The stud.
You'd almost have to, like me personally, plywood that whole wall, 3/4 ply with PL on each stud, and then screw every 6 inches. And then put a base of cementatious material, cement board, and then put the tile on there. And then I'd feel a lot more secure with the 351-pound person on there, right?
And he actually happened to order 2 different toilets. They're both wall hung. I don't know why.
Two styles?
Two styles.
Same brand?
I'm not 100% sure. But one of them came with a big rubber gasket that meets the toilet and the tile. One didn't.
Was it missing from the package?
I don't. We couldn't find it. It didn't come with it.
I've still siliconed those. I've always had to. Like, you can only tighten them so much before you crack it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Wall mounted or I guess the vanities are slightly different because it's an L bracket of some sort. Yeah. It's engineered metal, but nobody really sits on the vanity. They may lean against it. They're not going to push the weight down. But a toilet, you sit on it, and it moves. There's give on it. I don't care who you are. It moves, right? Yeah. Even 100
But even on the wall-hung vanity, I made the holes, and we made like oversized holes. So even if the screw moves, it's not going to be touching the tile.
See what I mean about how they create products to solve problems, but then they create new problems for those solutions that they created. for those problems. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like everyone likes wall-mounted toilets because they're easier to clean and they look cleaner
They
tile-wise,
look cleaner.
right?
Yeah, they look sharp. Yeah.
They look sharp, but as soon as you sit on them, you're like, yeah.
But
like
if you ever
it moves, man.
If you ever got to change it, you got to deal with
the carrier,
the buttons on the wall.
You got to hope that the brand that you got, the carrier bolts still line up with everybody, and then you change it that way.
And there's
right?
like 6 different holes on that.
But they talk about how you can access everything from the actuator, which is that big button at the top or whatever. It's still a challenge.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but even then.
And if you get a clog, that's a different story, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You are dealing with a big repair bill at that point, right? Especially if you go in stone. I would never put it up against drywall because you're definitely going to dent it every time you use it.
Yeah.
We did it on a job where she was in, like, I want wallpaper. I was like, okay, whatever. I haven't been back there since, so I don't know what it looks like, if it's changed or whatever. But no, I wanted something stronger.
Yeah.
I still put plywood behind there, but I'm plywood sandwiching drywall with the toilet.
Right.
Drywall over time of use and
move. Yeah.
It's no different than you open up a door and the doorstop isn't at the right spot and the doorknob is just nicking the drywall. Over time, it's going to keep on wearing away at it, right?
Yeah.
So that's why it's just like you got to be really cautious about that. Or you just go skirted toilet. Simple as that. You solve that problem, right?
Yeah.
So Ardex, okay. So material there wise, and then trying to think of what else. Well, I know you. What are you scoring with? You're scoring with.
Right now we're using the Sigma.
The Sigmas, right?
For the slabs, we have the Montolit, but I think we're gonna transition over to Raimondi pretty soon.
Why? Curious.
They have the suction cups on their rail.
Ah.
So using that on the wall, if you're making a cutout for the next day, you can score it. Like the Montolit right now, they've got like little rubber pieces that go the length.
Yeah.
But they can still move a little bit.
Mm.
Especially if you are outside in the winter in the cold like we were. You get a little water underneath it. It'll slide a little bit. Whereas the Raimondi one, they've got the suction cups. I think Sigma has the suction cups on theirs too. But
they do.
I just haven't heard as many great things about it. We've worked with another tile setter who swears by Raimondi everything, especially for the slabs. And we've used it with him numerous times, and I think it works great.
It worked well, yeah.
And then if you have the grinder attachment to use the grinder on the rail saw, it's all kind of the same system.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And that makes things a lot easier rather than buying a whole nother separate tool, a whole new separate rail. Because I think Montolit has the same rail, but with the circular saw, and the rail might be a little bit different.
But are you guys charging accordingly for, like, you know what I'm getting at? Like, you guys are becoming fabricator. Like you're
on-site fabricator.
Yeah, you're becoming the fabricator, finisher, cutter, and installer. Like, you guys are doing the whole thing now.
Yeah.
But I don't think you guys, we know what the prices are when you go into a fabrication shop for any kind of stone slab work, whether it's a backsplash or if it's cutouts or a countertop, vanity top, whatever. We know what those costs are.
Yeah.
And I don't think you guys, your numbers are in line with those numbers. You're definitely, like, you're a lot cheaper, and that's why clients and designers are probably going to, we'll just get the tiles installed to fabricate it, get it and worried about it. And you guys have to worry about it arriving on site, transporting it from, because the delivery will only drop it on the curb. Then you guys got to bring it into the site, second floor, third floor, nook cranny, cut it, set it up, like, you know what I'm getting at, right? Like, it's just not fair. That's all I'm trying to get at, right?
Yeah. And I mean, at the end of the day, we charge what the market will bear. It's either we take it or we leave it. Either we stop doing it,
because another tile installer will do it.
So another guy will do it. Well, I tell a customer, they go, look, if you're looking for cheap, there's always somebody cheaper.
But for some stone guys like that are doing these thicker slabs in the showers and stuff, I don't know if it's because they have a bigger company behind them or they have the fabricator on site. Like, their prices are still pretty competitive to ours. And if not, maybe even a little bit cheaper. because we're doing all this fabrication on site, like we are charging a good amount.
Good.
Like we're not holding back on that. Like we're not going to do this crazy job for less than what we demand.
This podcast episode has been sponsored by Class and Bronze Limited, authorized Canadian and U.S. wholesale distributor of Pagan heavy-duty, high-performance tile leveling systems and installation tools. Choosing to buy outstanding and beautiful tiles also requires buying an exceptional tile leveling system. For hassle-free installation and an exceptional leveled finish, choose Pagrin. Imitate it, never duplicate it. Available at Amazon, select ProSol stores, and purchased at www.tilelevelingsystems.shop. You can also find Pagrin on social at Tile Leveling Systems and their website, www.pagrin.com.
Yeah. I actually had someone text me about a fireplace in the slabs, 21 feet high. So scaffolding and everything.
How wide? The width of the slab?
Not actually sure, but there was miter return. So it was probably like a good like...
Oh, so you're going horizontal with the slabs then?
Maybe. Okay. Or it could be 2 slabs on the with the grout line down the middle, wow. And then the miter returns.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, this guy, I don't know who he was exactly, but he was like, oh, so I'm not going to be making any money. And it's like, well, then you have to charge more. That's not up to me. Like,
exactly.
I'm charging this amount. I'm not going to cut anybody a break just because you might have a job for me. Like, you know, either way, we're very busy. Like, I'm going to charge.
So he sold it already to the client.
Or was about to, or very close to. But maybe he bid on more work than he can chew. And now he's looking for someone else to help.
Was this like a 3/4 slab?
Like 3/4 inch?
Yeah, 3/4 inch thick.
No, it was more like a 6 or 10 mil.
Oh, wow, eh?
So the thinner
on a
stuff.
gas fireplace?
Yeah. I didn't even get to ask that many questions because it was more just about like square footage and price. And I was interested because
to pull it off.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's something different for us, right?
What it's going to cost, right?
Yeah.
You guys put a lot of like, I always get sweat, like just almost pass out when you guys put a lot of faith in those suction cups, moving things around and carrying it with the suction cups. I'm like,
yeah.
Are they really that good?
I put a lot of faith in them.
They are. They're sometimes they start losing a little bit of pressure, but they got the gauge on it, so we can easily glance at it, look at it, and just give it a couple of little pumps. If that happens, most of the time it doesn't.
It did happen last week.
One
let go,
one pump, and it was
one let go,
and it, you know, you really start to feel it.
See what I mean? You're like making me sweat right now.
Okay, that was the first time. That was actually the first time it ever happened.
I know
it hasn't happened,
and it was because of the ice and
maybe
stuff
outside.
Because you guys were,
because we're outside at minus 10 degrees.
Exactly.
So it had like the dust,
ice
and the
crystals
ice
back there or something. But no, they're good. We've carried those. We twisted them upside down. Well, not upside down, but sideways. Almost upside down. They've never.
And we've done these slabs like
they've never failed us.
Exterior with somebody else and carrying them up 3 sets of scaffolding, and that was no problem.
Yeah.
Like the Raimondi suction cups are very
they're
good.
so much better than the old ones where you just fold over the handle and.
Well, I remember those ones. Those ones had no strength whatsoever.
Yeah.
Once I did use those ones and you fold it over, I would like test to see if I could pull it out, and it would come out, right?
Or the Grabos. You familiar with those?
Yeah, I know
they've
what you're
never
talking
failed us. Those things are incredible. How much weight they can hold.
Like I've heard horror stories from some people about their Grabos crapping out on them. I don't know. We take care of ours, you know, we make sure it's clean.
You're keeping it clean.
We're not like jamming the buttons. We push it, you know, push it to let go. Take it easy. Like,
as long as the base is kept clean where it makes the seal with the air.
I know, but there's always that one little.
Well, but actually the new one, now the Grabo, as soon as the pressure gets below a certain amount, it turns on automatically by itself.
It has like an electronic digital reader.
The old one, no, you have to keep looking at the gauge because it might lose depending on the roughness of the material or what condition your rubber seal is in.
Because those will get worn out over time.
It gets worn out over time, right? You throw it around.
Yeah.
But we've only changed one rubber seal, and that was because we We put it in the bag, and the charger was in there. So overnight, it kind of left an indent.
Oh.
And then after that,
we put it right on top of a corner, right?
So you couldn't get a full seal.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't go back.
But otherwise, like, we have 2 of them, and
they're good.
we've changed it once.
Yeah.
And I trust it.
The new one is
I'm
really
carrying
good.
those big tiles.
Yeah.
Some of these slabs we're carrying with just 2 grabos.
It's nice that I'm seeing you guys do this with tiles, not just with the slabs now, right? Because it makes your life that much easier when you're installing tile, right?
Yeah.
Especially the 2x4 tiles, right? Where you get an opportunity to go down there. And back in the day, what we used to do, watch your fingers.
Yeah.
Like that kind of mentality, right?
Yeah.
Watch your fingers,
you
right?
can control it so much easier now. Put it in. Even if you have to lift it again for whatever reason.
Which is a pain in the ass, I guess.
With the grabo, it's so much easier.
It's a pain in the ass, but when you got your dad standing there, be like, okay, I'll hold it while you put more cement. Like, then it's easy for me.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen, we got to wrap it up, but I got to do the 12 questions with you guys. I want to let everybody know Frank's Flooring, www.franksflooring.ca. Frank and Steven. Well, no, I'll go Frank at franksflooring.ca and then Steven at franksflooring.ca. And then on IG, it's at Frank's Flooring. And then the phone numbers, Frank's is 416-722-2507. And then Steven's 647-921-2508. Your season done? No, you guys are still working. What's the cutoff date?
No, we
Our
don't stop.
Is done when my sister comes home for the holidays. So
when
the Friday, the 22nd, I think we're gonna take a break.
Yep.
2-week break?
No.
2 day.
That's
2-day break.
The Monday,
that's
Christmas
not a
and
good
Boxing
break.
Day.
People still want you to work in between?
Well, we're lucky. We got a house
The
we're doing
people
where
are
they're,
right
where they're
here
not
in the
living.
Okay.
We're lucky we got a house where they're not living in it. They're moving in end of January or
So
something.
it's convenient.
So it's
Take
convenient.
advantage of it.
We can come and go as we please.
And you can set up inside.
set up inside. Yeah.
We've learned that over the years that, when you're working over Christmas, you do not do a reno. Because people want you to be meticulous. They want you in and out at a certain time. They're going to have people coming in and out, like friends and family. And if they're not living there, you don't have to worry about any of that. And we won't take a job unless it's like that.
It's a unicorn, though. Not all the job sites are like that.
No.
But, over years, you can start to plan that out in October, November. Like, oh, yeah, what about Christmas?
Yeah.
Ready for these? What is your favorite construction word?
Mortar.
Mortar.
Wood.
Wood? Well, Frank's Flooring. What is your least favorite tool?
Ooh.
Mixer.
The mixer?
Yeah.
What are you guys running? A Makita?
Bosch.
A Bosch
and
one?
we actually have 2 older ones. So the Bosch would be technically like my generation. Then we have an old Black & Decker, which is my dad's generation.
Mixer?
Yeah.
They made a mixer, slow torque? Really?
Yeah.
Oh, very slow torque.
Yeah.
And heavy.
It's probably about 30.
It still works?
Still. Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Every time the new one breaks down, we go back to the old one.
It still works.
Buy a new one. Wait till it breaks down. Go back to the old one.
And
then
we have my grandfather's that he used for plaster, which is a Van Dorn. I don't even know what this brand is, but I'm pretty sure.
And
like
it
it's hard
works?
to. Oh yeah,
yeah.
That thing, you can see the bearings kind of sparking and stuff a little bit inside, but it works
it's
great.
Cool when you see the sparking going on inside there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That one's got to be over. That's over 50
So
years
it's funny
old.
that the older ones are being used when the newer one breaks down.
Break down.
Yeah.
Go back to the old one, but you got a bit of a. You
got to work it.
You pay for it because
you got to work it.
They weigh a little bit more.
Yeah.
What construction sound do you guys love?
Oh, the grinder.
The grinder?
The grinder or the scoring? Like the grinder.
That scoring sound. That's
Like I do not mind the grinder at all. Like we wear the headphones, of course.
The hardwood nailer sound.
Tum, 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 tum. Pneumatic or hand?
Pneumatic.
Yeah, it's kind of rhythmic, makes like a little melody with
It's true. What's your favorite beverage? Anything.
Probably water or espresso.
Yeah, espresso.
What turns you on and off in construction?
Arrogant, inconsiderate people who only give a crap about themselves and not about the other trades.
That's what turns you on.
That's what turns me off. Sometimes, people are very like, no, it's got to be like this. Screw everything else. Done. Like, I don't care about you or what you want to do. And me coming in so young, like I need to care. I need to show respect to people. But it's hard to give respect to people who only care about like one thing.
I know, exactly.
Yeah.
Pain in the ass. True. Favorite curse word?
I'll let you take this one.
Fungu.
Can't go wrong with that.
Yeah.
Same?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I don't say it too often because, I'm trying to give that respect to people. But, when you're the boss, you get to play by your own rules.
You can totally say it.
Yeah.
Favorite vehicle in the entire world?
Oh, the pickup truck.
Which brand?
I mean, I don't want to offend my baby out in the parking lot, so I'm going to have to say the F-150.
What's yours, Frank?
No, favorite vehicle? It's got to be a Ferrari.
Any particular one?
Well, the Enzo.
You just choose one of the more difficult ones to get a hold of.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So,
one day.
What do you miss from your childhood?
I don't miss really anything. I mean, playing hockey and skateboarding, maybe. I used to do that a lot as a kid.
I wish I see more skateboarders. I miss skateboarders. And I can't stand cities that put those little notches on all the benches and shit.
One of my friends, his brother is doing incredible with skateboarding. Yeah. And I still love watching skateboarding and snowboarding videos. That's definitely like one of my favorite things to do in life. If I was better at it, I wouldn't be here sitting with this guy right now. But happy to be here, though, of course.
Yeah.
What's yours?
Missing
from your childhood?
Playing street hockey.
I don't see that many kids do it anymore these days, eh?
No, very few.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
What profession other than your own would you guys like to attempt one day?
Oof.
Attempt one.
Something else you want to do?
Something else?
Yeah.
Be a family doctor.
A family doctor?
Okay.
Yeah.
You got problems with your ears? Go see the ear specialist. Nose? Go see the nose specialist.
You got a problem with the family?
Family?
Go see a family specialist.
That or a teacher.
Yeah, I mean, I did kind of want to be a teacher when I was in high school. I did a little music course and wanted to teach that brief window of my life. But doing this, I get to teach people every day things. So this
like clients,
clients, employees,
clients, designers.
Me and my dad teach each other stuff all the time, new and old tricks. But if it wasn't any of that, I will go back to the snowboarding.
What profession would you guys not like to do?
Oh, accountant. I took business in college. Accounting was not for me. Marketing and stuff is more so my thing, which is what we're doing now.
There you go,
yeah.
Frank?
Plumber.
Yeah. I guess you've seen enough plumbing.
I've seen enough of that stuff, what they go through sometimes. No.
Poor guys.
Last question. If heaven exists, what would you guys like to hear God say when you arrive at those pearly gates?
You did a great job on that slab job, man. Sorry that tile cracked on you.
That was a test. What, you, Frank?
Yeah.
Just a simple thank you from them.
Nice.
That's it.
Thanks so much, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for
thank you
for having us on the show.
Thank you very much,
and,
too.
it was great talking shop again, right? So
Yeah.
enjoy the holiday break and
Yes.
take some downtime, and hopefully you guys don't dream about troweling and slapping on tile. And
sometimes those are good dreams, though, you know? Sometimes
spacers
those are
and everything
ones.
and working outside and all kinds of stuff like that.
Yeah.
So continue doing the amazing work. I really appreciate it.
Thank
man.
you. Really
Thank you very
appreciate
much.
it. Thanks for having us here.
Thanks so much. All right, Angelina, right here.